Alright, let's be real here. We all worry. Whether it's about work, relationships, finances, or the future in general, worry can creep into our lives at any moment. It feels like it's keeping us prepared for what's coming, but the truth is, worrying just paralyzes us. It keeps our minds locked in a loop of anxiety and what-ifs, and most of the time, it doesn't help us solve anything. But what if I told you there's a way to stop worrying in just 10 seconds? Yes, you heard that right. In just 10 seconds, you can cut off the cycle of overthinking and regain control of your mind. This technique isn't some fancy, complex method. It's simple, actionable, and something you can use anytime, anywhere. So let's break it down, step by step, so that the next time you feel overwhelmed by worry, you'll know exactly what to do. Step 1. Pause and acknowledge the worry. The first and most important step is to pause. I can't stress this enough. Worrying has this crazy momentum. It keeps spiraling and getting worse the more you feed into it. So, the moment you notice that your mind is starting to race with worry, pause everything. Take a deep breath, feel your feet on the ground, notice your surroundings, and just stop whatever you're doing for a second. Now, don't get me wrong. This isn't about pretending that the worry doesn't exist. In fact, the key here is to acknowledge the worry. Say to yourself, okay, I'm worrying right now. This sounds simple, but by labeling your worry, you immediately create a little bit of distance between yourself and the emotion. You're no longer in the worry, you're observing it. This helps you detach from the overwhelming feeling and puts you in a position of control. Think of it like this. If you're driving a car and suddenly the dashboard lights start flashing, what's the first thing you do? You stop, right? You pause to figure out what's going on. You wouldn't just keep driving and hope the problem goes away. The same rule applies to your mind. Pausing is like pulling over and checking in with yourself. Step 2. Ask the critical question. Can I do something about this right now? This next step is the game changer. After pausing, the next thing you need to do is ask yourself a simple yet powerful question. Can I do something about this right now? Here's why this question is so crucial. Worry is often based on future scenarios that haven't even happened yet. Our brains love to play out worst-case scenarios, making us believe that something terrible is about to happen. But the truth is, most of the time, these scenarios are just our imagination running wild. So, by asking yourself this question, you force your brain to focus on what's actually real and in your control. There are only two possible answers to this question. Yes, I can do something about this right now. If this is the case, great. You've just identified an action you can take. Now, instead of wasting your energy worrying, you can direct it towards solving the problem. Even if it's something small, taking action will give you a sense of control and help reduce your anxiety. No, there's nothing I can do right now. If the answer is no, then you know worrying isn't going to help. This might sound harsh, but it's the truth. If there's nothing you can do at this moment, worrying is just draining your energy for no reason. Acknowledge that and allow yourself to let go. You can always come back to the issue later when you have more information or control over the situation. The key here is that you're training your mind to focus on what's actionable. By asking this question, you're cutting off the endless cycle of what-ifs and redirecting your attention to what's within your power. This reduces the sense of helplessness that worry often brings. Step 3. Shift your focus to the present moment. Now that you've paused and asked the critical question, it's time to bring your mind back to the present moment. Worry thrives on the future. It's all about what might happen, what could go wrong, and what you can't control. So, to stop worrying in its tracks, you need to pull your mind back to the here and now. How do you do this? by shifting your focus to something tangible in your immediate environment. This can be as simple as paying attention to your breathing, noticing the colors in the room, or feeling the sensation of your feet on the ground. The goal here is to anchor your mind in the present, so it stops wandering into those stressful future scenarios. One of my favorite techniques is to take a deep, slow breath and count as I inhale and exhale. For example, breathe in for 4 seconds, hold it for 4 seconds, and then exhale for 4 seconds. Do this for just a few breaths, and you'll notice that your mind starts to calm down. This is because focusing on your breath activates the parasympathetic nervous system, which is responsible for relaxation. It's a quick way to shift your body out of the fight or flight mode that worry triggers. Another method is to practice mindful observation. Pick an object in the room, like a pen or a plant, and study it closely. Notice the details, the color, texture, shape, etc. This might sound strange, but it's incredibly effective. By focusing your attention on something outside of your thoughts, you're breaking the loop of worry and grounding yourself in reality. Step 4. Reframe the worry. All right, now that you've paused, asked the right question, and grounded yourself in the present, it's time to reframe the worry. This step is all about changing the narrative in your head. Worry often comes with a negative story. For example, if you're worried about a job interview, the narrative in your head might be, "What if I mess up? What if they don't like me?" These kinds of thoughts create more anxiety and make the situation feel even more daunting. But here's the thing, you have the power to change that story. Instead of thinking, "What if I mess up?" reframe it to something like, "I've prepared for this interview and I'll do my best." Or, "Even if I make a mistake, it's not the end of the world. I'll learn from it and move on." This simple shift in perspective can make a huge difference in how you feel. The goal here isn't to ignore the worry, but to look at it from a more balanced, realistic perspective. When you reframe the worry, you're taking away its power to control you. You're reminding yourself that you're capable of handling whatever comes your way. Step 5. Use a physical anchor to break the cycle. Sometimes, worry can feel overwhelming, and even after reframing it, your mind might still be racing. In these cases, it helps to use a physical anchor to break the cycle. This could be something as simple as clenching your fist for a few seconds, and then releasing it. The physical sensation gives your brain something else to focus on, interrupting the flow of anxious thoughts. Another technique is to snap a rubber band on your wrist gently, of course. This small physical action brings your attention back to your body and the present moment, breaking the spiral of worry. It's a quick and effective way to reset your mind. Step 6. Practice gratitude in the moment. This step is often overlooked, but it's incredibly powerful in combating worry. Practicing gratitude. When you're caught in a cycle of worry, your brain is hyper-focused on what's going wrong or what might go wrong. By shifting your focus to what's going right, you can counteract this negativity and bring your mind back to a more balanced state. The next time you feel worry creeping in, take a moment to think of 3 things you're grateful for in that very moment. They don't have to be big things. Maybe it's the fact that you're sitting in a comfortable chair, or that you had a delicious meal earlier, or that you have someone you love in your life. The point is to remind yourself that, despite the worry, there are still positive things happening in your life right now. Gratitude is like a reset button for your brain. It helps to pull your attention away from the what-ifs of the future and back to the present reality, where things aren't as bad as your mind might make them seem. Plus, gratitude has been scientifically proven to boost your mood and reduce anxiety. So this isn't just a feel-good exercise, it actually works. Step 7. Take immediate action, no matter how small. Once you've gone through the first few steps, pausing, reframing, and grounding yourself, It's time to take action. Worry thrives on inaction. The more you sit and ruminate, the worse the worry gets. That's why the final step is to do something, no matter how small. Let's say you're worried about an upcoming deadline at work. Instead of sitting there and letting the worry spiral out of control, ask yourself, what's one small thing I can do right now to move forward? Maybe it's sending an email, writing a quick outline, or organizing your thoughts. Whatever it is, take that small step. The key here is that action creates momentum. Once you start doing something, your brain shifts from worrying about the future to focusing on the task at hand. Even if the action doesn't solve the entire problem, it gives you a sense of progress, which can significantly reduce your anxiety. Remember, the size of the action doesn't matter. It could be as small as writing a single sentence or making a quick phone call. The important thing is that you're taking control of the situation instead of letting the worry control you. Step 8. Use the 10-second rule regularly. Now that you've learned how to stop worrying in just 10 seconds, it's important to make this a habit. The more you practice these steps, the easier it will become to catch yourself in the act of worrying and stop it before it spirals out of control. Here's how you can use the 10-second rule regularly. 1. Set reminders for yourself throughout the day. These can be simple notifications on your phone that say, pause and breathe, or check in with your thoughts. 2. Practice mindfulness in your daily activities. Whether you're washing the dishes, walking to work, or having a conversation, try to stay present and notice when your mind starts to drift into worry. 3. Celebrate small wins. Every time you successfully use the 10-second rule to stop worrying, acknowledge it. Give yourself credit for taking control of your mind. This positive reinforcement will encourage you to keep practicing. The beauty of this method is that it doesn't require a lot of time or effort. You can use it anytime, anywhere, and it only takes 10 seconds to get started. Over time, you'll notice that your overall levels of worry decrease, and you'll feel more empowered to handle whatever life throws your way. Step 9. Understand that worrying is a habit. One of the biggest realizations you'll have when you start using this technique is that worrying is a habit, and like any habit, it can be changed. The more you let yourself fall into the trap of worry, the stronger that habit becomes. But the good news is, the opposite is also true. The more you practice stopping worry in its tracks, the weaker that habit becomes. Think of it like this: your brain is like a muscle. If you're constantly flexing the worry muscle, it gets stronger, and worrying becomes your default mode. But if you start flexing the calm and present muscle, over time, that becomes your new default. It's all about rewiring your brain to respond differently to stress and uncertainty. This realization can be incredibly empowering. It means that worry doesn't have to control your life. You have the ability to break the habit of worrying and replace it with a more productive, calm way of thinking. Step 10. Learn to let go of what you can't control. This final step is more of a mindset shift than an actionable step, but it's just as important. One of the biggest sources of worry is the feeling that we need to control everything. We want to know exactly what's going to happen in the future, and we want to make sure everything goes according to plan. But the reality is, there's so much in life that's beyond our control. The sooner you accept this, the easier it becomes to let go of worry. When you find yourself worrying about something that's out of your control, remind yourself that no amount of worry will change the outcome. What's going to happen will happen, and all you can do is focus on what's within your power. This doesn't mean you should be passive or indifferent to life's challenges. It just means that you should focus your energy on what you can control, your actions, your mindset, and your responses to situations, and let go of the rest. This mindset shift will bring a sense of peace and freedom that can drastically reduce your overall levels of worry. Conclusion. Worrying is a natural part of life, but it doesn't have to dominate your thoughts or control your actions. By using the 10-second rule, you can stop worrying in its tracks and take back control of your mind. The steps are simple. Pause, ask the critical question, shift your focus to the present, reframe the worry, and take action. Remember, worrying is a habit, and like any habit, it can be changed. The more you practice these steps, the easier it will become to stop worry before it spirals out of control. Over time, you'll notice a decrease in your overall anxiety and a newfound sense of peace and control over your thoughts. So the next time you find yourself worrying, don't let it spiral. Take 10 seconds, follow these steps, and reclaim your peace of mind. You've got this. Let me know if you'd like to expand further or add any specific details.